So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are in the world, whether you're watching this live or whether you're actually going to, whether you're actually watching a video recording of this. My name is Ed Ludbrook, and today what I'm going to do is deliver you with the facts. Okay, I was looking at how we present the opportunity of OneLife, of OneCoin, and the reality is the challenge for us is actually, and the other people who may be watching here or things that have been involved with that, is the believability. The challenge we have is that the success and the opportunity is so great that for a lot of people, it stretches their believability. Is this one of these too good to be true? And then you start talking about money, and then people go, oh no, it's one of these opportunities. And I've known that because whilst this sort of network industry has been very much focused around, around the United States, I've always been involved in Europe and Asia, and I don't want to shock you, but people in the UK and Europe are a little bit skeptical. I don't want to shock you, but some of them can be a little bit negative. And therefore, if you deliver an opportunity that is like, hey, this is too good to be true, you always have a bit of a challenge as far as the credibility of the business is concerned. And when it comes to this business, I have been involved since November 2015. I actually was told about it a few months earlier. In reality, I should have taken it more serious when I had a look at it. But when for me personally, I was asked by the owner and CEO of the company at the time to come and help the business look at how it would develop. And I did my research into this whole area of cryptocurrency, and based on my research, I went, wow. Okay, and I hope when you look and understand this opportunity, you will also go, wow. You will also go, this is pretty amazing. And so there is a certain flow of facts, and I call them facts because that's what we think they are. And when the more research you do into this area, the more I think you'll realize that they are facts. They are the reality of the market, even though they impact the world in a pretty dramatic way. There is a revolution happening, and we are at the forefront of it. And that means that this opportunity that we have, that you could have, is literally the biggest opportunity in the world, which is why this company is currently probably the most successful, fastest growing opportunity in the world. Okay, so when it comes to looking at these opportunities, it's very important you understand that this is a new area. But when you understand these things, they do make sense. Me personally, I have quite a conservative background where I was an army officer, then I was an investment banker in London. I have a degree in economics. I was an engineer in the army. It wasn't as if I was something flash. Okay, I was more serious, practical engineers. But I joined the network marketing industry in the summer of 1989. Okay, in the summer of 1989 in London, and I have been involved for 27 years. So for me, I have a slightly different role than other people. As whilst I have been one of these field people, my real specialization is in the strategic, what I call the high performance areas, in strategy, systems, and leadership. And in those fields, I'm considered an authority, world authority. My books have sold more than 2 million copies in 20 languages. When it comes to actually how these businesses work and how they operate in the field, I was the primary advisor to the British government, called the DTI. on the implementation of their pyramid sales legislation in the 90s. Yes, I'm that old. I may look young. And I have advised more than 50 of the biggest companies in the world. I've been a primary advisor to most of the leaders in the world. I've listed 2 companies in London, one of them which is called Telecom Plus, or Utilities Warehouse. I founded that company, and it's been enormously successful. Saying that, those guys that develop it, I actually haven't had a lot to do with it since the early days. But in reality, the reason why I tell you this is because for me, I'm considered the guy in the world that, that when you have a new opportunity, when you're looking at a new business, I'm the guy that people say, hey, Ed, what do you think of that? And that's how my relationship with the company actually started. Was a friend of mine, Scandinavian friend of mine, said, hey, look, can you have a look at this OneCoin opportunity? And I was a little bit skeptical to start off, I'll be honest with you. But he said, look, Ed, do the research into cryptocurrency. And that's what I want you to do. I'm going to go through what I think is the logic, and I'll go through it actually relatively quickly. But what I want you to do is to say, hey, is this product opportunity? Is this, is this new development, this new innovation that has results are spectacular? Is it something that I can understand? Because if you get it, you'll become like a few million people actually in the world. You'll appreciate the excitement of that opportunity. Okay, so as we go through it with those people that are watching live, and what I want you to do is just to say hi, as Gavin has said. Don't forget to tell people about your background. I didn't see that, Gavin. Okay, I suppose it helps. I hope it does help. If you're looking at this opportunity, I do hope that it helps you appreciate that that people who have a little bit of experience in evaluating these things have done that and have joined. And trust me, today is very different than what this opportunity was when I joined in November 2015. It was, the company was effectively only months old. But, with these sort of things, if you see the opportunity, you always have to join before everyone knows about it, if you want to take advantage of it. But I hope you enjoy what we're going to do. But, as we go through this, if I ask you a question, if you can put a yes or a no in the chat, makes me feel as though there's someone out there. So does everyone understand that? Give me a yes, give me a no in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Okay, so I need to share my screen, so I will do that now. And I call this the discovery, because that's what really you need to do. The really cool thing about this opportunity is the buzz and success of our business. When you look at, the product, it's really about the product. All great companies are about the product, and OneCoin is, in a little over 2 years, is now the world's leading cryptocurrency. I believe it's the world's #1 currency. We have more than 3 million miners. The sales of money that's been put into the mining process is more than 3 billion euros. And because of that, because of the revenue that's come in, okay, we are considered the fastest growing company in the world. Most people, when I explain the numbers, if they know anything about the business, they go, holy hell, in 2 years, you've taken more than 3 billion euros. It's for us, the growth speed, Google, I think Facebook took 4 or 5 years to hit $1 billion in sales. We did it in 10 months. Okay, we did it in 10 months. And we're in 198 countries. And I say 198 because that's every country in the world. And so what you should be going is, why are so many people putting so much money into a project, okay? And therefore you just say, hey, why not me? Okay, so that's what you really need to say. If you have that question in your background, the back of your head, because you don't want to miss out. Let's be honest. If this thing is the right place at the right time, and the fortune is, you know, the fortunes being made such, you've got to ask yourself why not. Because I tell you what, people from every country and every different background are involved in this business, making all sorts of money. And if you don't think that's exciting, then you're watching the wrong presentation. So let's understand what OneCoin is.
What is OneCoin? Millions of people around the world are mining OneCoin today. The reason? It's a platform for innovation that changes the financial industry. Put simply, it gives instant access to easier, faster, and low-cost financial services. You do not need to go to a traditional financial institution or escrow agent to send money to your loved ones. Fast. We make transactions every minute, hence you are able to send money from any part of the world to another in a minute. Easy. Everyone can transfer money with OneCoin. You only need your phone to do so. Safe. And most importantly, mining the coin, transferring money, and making payments with OneCoin is absolutely safe. When joining OneCoin, we automatically create an e-wallet for you. Because of our centralized model, we take care of all technical aspects, ensuring that your mined coins are safe. What's more, to prevent money laundering, identity theft, financial fraud, and terrorist financing, OneCoin has implemented KYC, Know Your Customer procedures, thus preventing any possible misconduct by its clients. OneCoin also became the first cryptocurrency with a monthly audit of its blockchain. People join OneCoin for a reason: to learn about cryptocurrency, to mine the coin, to transfer money, to make payments without the need for expensive or unsafe intermediaries, to deposit money, and to save over 8% in remittance costs. Use OneCoin to save your time and money every time you need financial services. Inspired by Dr. Roger Neville's strong vision to provide access to financial services for everyone, regardless of income, social status, and ethnicity, OneCoin has become a global company with a community of thousands of miners worldwide in just over a year. One world, one coin. Join the financial revolution.
I love this video.
What is OneCoin? Millions of people.
I won't show it to you again. I love that video, and the reason is I think it gives not just what's happening today, but also the vision for what this business is and how cryptocurrency is really going to transform and disrupt what is probably the largest industry in the world. You know, the world of money. And what's important to understand when you're actually looking at an opportunity is to understand the area it's in. And in the digital world, what happens is that industries are disrupted, okay? And therefore, or they are new, they're created, and that creates incredible opportunities. And we all know those companies that you can see on the screen, the Facebooks, the Googles, and the Alibabas, Apples. They are now the most valuable companies in the world. The people behind them are the richest people, but also there's been millions of people involved with those businesses, and they have made extraordinary incomes at speeds that other people can't believe. And the key thing is to be involved with a company that leads that development, and they're called digital gorillas. But what you have to be is in the right place in the right time with the right sort of business. And so the right place at the moment is that world of money, because the digital revolution is finally actually developing this area. Because when you think about it, you know, when you think about all the other areas, like, you know, whether you're talking music or communications or any of those areas, money actually has been the slowest of these major areas that have been developed. We all understand that there's a revolution in there, don't we? Because, you know, money started at gold, then was notes and coins, and now when you think of your interaction with money, it's digital, especially in the developed world. Okay, it's all credit cards and payment systems and online banking and all that sort of stuff. And it's amazing what we can do. Okay, it really is amazing what we can do. And now it's going mobile. And certainly for most of the world, okay, much to the horror of the developed world, but most of the world is not the developed world. Probably, you know, 85 to 90% of the world really is in is in the developing or the third world, okay? And for them, the revolution in digital money is these mobile phones, okay? And because of the mobile revolution, it has enabled a banking revolution. And that, as we'll hear in a couple of minutes, is a fundamental change in the world. It really is. It's a fundamental change. Now, the fact is, though, is when you have a look at the world of finance and the world of money, is that whilst it's going digital, the reality is that it is still inefficient. And I always use this example because it happened to me a few weeks ago, and I have to do it again today, is I sent some money to my great friend in Cyprus. He's based in Cyprus. And it took 9 days to send money from New Zealand to Cyprus, okay? Did you hear that? 9 days. And you and I know it's digital, okay? So we know that it's traveled from New Zealand to Cyprus. We know that it's traveled at the speed of light, yet for some reason it took 9 days. And for me, that is just the classic example of how the system, the money system, is still being held by the banks and other organizations, but mainly banks. And the reason they can do that, they shouldn't be allowed to do that, but the reason they can do that is because of the currency that we use. It's not the systems and the regulations, it's actually the currency. And the reason is that currency, as we said, which is like the platform, isn't it, of the financial world, the currencies are still old school. I think that's the best way of calling them. They're still old school. They're what's called a fiat currency. They're issued and controlled by governments and central banks and actual main normal banking. And we know that they are devaluing this currency because people talk about how the price of things has gone up so much over 100 years. I like this graph, okay, and I like this graph because this graph so simply shows that these are the major currencies in the world. Look at it: US dollar, euro, yen, British pound. And since 2000, so in the last 16, 17 years, the purchasing power of the major currencies has collapsed by 75% against the only credible benchmark that there is with currencies, which is gold. Everyone appreciates that. But when you compare it against gold, it is incredible. It is incredible how much these currencies have been destroyed by, okay, this again, by the people who are meant to be looking after it, i.e. the banks, okay? And because of that, it has created a situation where there hasn't really been a revolution. Hasn't been that sort of disrupted revolution that there has been in all the other markets. And this is the opportunity. And the key bit of technology that will change all of that is cryptocurrency, okay? And cryptocurrency changes everything because it creates a form of digital gold, and you don't need the banks to use it. And you don't need the banks because this technology is based on what's called blockchain technology. And blockchain will be one of the most transformative technologies in the world, okay? All the major organizations in the world are raving about it. And what it does, it was created for cryptocurrency. But as I said, what it does is that it means that the banks don't have control of it. It means that we have control about it, and the people want a revolution when it comes to their money. I want to be able to send money to my friend in Cyprus in the time that it takes to send a text. Would you agree? Okay. And until that happens, I know that the digital revolution hasn't happened. And the only way you can actually do that is through cryptocurrency. Now, the first cryptocurrency was called Bitcoin. Since then, there are more than 600, 700, some people say 800 cryptocurrencies, and which is exciting. But to me, when you think about it, you'd say, well, if it's so amazing, how come the world isn't using it? Well, we know that major organizations, those retail organizations that you can see, use it, but how come it hasn't evolved? And so I wondered whether it was the technology. This concept of blockchain is to value, i.e. something like currency, what the internet was to information, Okay, so the internet allowed us to send information in a way that we never believed. The blockchain is a technology that allows us to transfer value, i.e. like a currency, okay, allows us to transfer value from one person to another person without having someone in the middle, to be able to do that very easily. And that is the technology behind cryptocurrency, and it means that this technology is disruptive in the world of money, and that creates opportunity. That's really what you need to know, is it creates opportunity. Now, because when you look at this technology, what I want you to be so clear about is that there is already a revolution in money. We see that in the digital way that we deal with money. The only difference is cryptocurrency is the next generation of currency. And because it's secure and because it's great for people to use, that's why when we look forward, we have to say, okay, where's the opportunity? And so for me, I looked at that and I said, well, the logical thing is for every country in the world to issue, which is now most of the money, if you look at the US dollar or the euro or the New Zealand dollar or you know, most currencies in the world are actually digital anyway. So it's logical for all of those currencies to then evolve and take on and use this crypto technology because it's more secure, it's more effective, okay? And because governments then take more control of their currency, if you'd like to know. So I look at that and that makes sense to me, and what we can see around the world is the major people like the Americans and the Japanese and the Chinese are all saying, hey, look, we're going to go to some form of cryptocurrency. So that makes sense, okay? But then what you need to appreciate is that there will also be, there are certain things in the world as far as currencies that can't be done effectively by the currencies that we have today. And therefore, this creates an opportunity for there to be a global cryptocurrency that is not controlled by any government, okay? An independent one. And, you know, as I said before, there are 600-700 cryptocurrencies or whatever it is in the world. You know, that's a great opportunity. But the reality is that there will be only one. And the reason why I say there'll only be one is because currency is like social media. And we've seen how the company Facebook has taken over the world of social media across the globe because it's networked. Because, you know, what we do is we share information between people in that social network. And it doesn't work to have 700 Facebooks in the world. It only works to have one. So that's why all the others have died off, because people have said, hey, Facebook is the one. And that's why it's logical that there will be only one global cryptocurrency. And it will be used for 4 major areas, okay? And those areas are when to send money from a person to person internationally. It's called remittances. Massive market. It's slow. It's expensive. But this is something like 200 million people do remittances every year with turnover of something like $600 billion. If you don't send a lot of money to your family and friends around the world, okay, trust me, there are millions and millions and millions of people who do, and they pay a lot of money to the Western Unions and the banks of the world to be able to do that. Where cryptocurrency is, it's simple, it's fast, it's convenient, and it's a much more low-cost solution. So there's one. The other one is the banking of the unbanked. Half of the adults in the world actually have either no banking or very poor banking. And in reality, there's a revolution, that the digital revolution is already happening there. Already 500 million people have been banked in the last less than 10 years. And so that revolution works. The only difference is that a cryptocurrency is a much more effective currency to actually use that. So cryptocurrency will accelerate the process, which will unleash the potential of the emerging markets of the world, which is fantastic. To me, this is like the most important thing in the world, because the way you heal a lot of the problems in the world is you financially empower them, okay? And so cryptocurrency will do that. So it's going to it's going to require an enormous amount of currency to be able to power that revolution. The other things is that just to send money around the world, as far as certainly small and medium-sized businesses, you know, they have to deal, and I buy things from China, okay, for a business that I have, and you know, the Chinese quote in US dollars, I have to pay in US dollars, but none of us really want to deal in US dollars, certainly not at the moment, okay? So there's a $22 trillion market. And the last one, and I think actually the one that will be the biggest one, I've never said that I think it's the biggest one, but I actually think this will be the biggest one. The reality is that governments will naturally inflate their currency. Okay, so the buying power of your currency is going to get worse and worse every year. And now this is a real problem for most of the people in the world because they live in economies that actually have very weak currencies. And therefore, if you have an alternative where you can actually switch your money very easily from your current currency into a cryptocurrency that acts like a digital gold, and you can do that for a very low price, why wouldn't you do it? Would you agree with me? Why wouldn't you do it? If you could just, on your mobile phone right now, if you had $20,000 in your savings bank right now in your currency, and you were worried that they were going to inflate it and you just wanted to put it aside, if you could switch that into a cryptocurrency right now, immediately at low cost, who wouldn't do that? Who wouldn't do that? Would you agree? Come on, give me a yes, give me a no. Who wouldn't do that? Okay, would you agree? It just makes sense. So that what to me, okay, because we want you, if you're looking at this for the first time, we want you to see this and go, I have to get some of those coins. That's what we want you to do. This whole presentation is about us wanting you to go to join our world, and go, hey, look, I want to get some of those coins. Because it makes sense for the world to embrace this new technology. And would you believe, I have read nearly 10 books on this whole subject of digital banking in the last 4 weeks, okay? Because I want to see what the banking experts are saying. And all of them are saying like, hey, this cryptocurrency thing is going to change the game. And as I said, the market will be, there will be one global one. It'll be independent. And the value of the currency, as you can see from this, it'll be at least $1 trillion. And the reason why I like writing trillion is because it has 12 zeros after it. You think $1 million at 6 zeros is a lot, and then you see $1 trillion and there are 1 and 12 zeros. It's such a massive opportunity. This is the world's biggest digital opportunity. It's bigger than all the other sort of Google search and all this sort of stuff. And therefore, because Bitcoin isn't the solution, that this is the biggest race in the digital world ever. Who can create the world's first reserve currency and become that digital giant? And when we look at that Bitcoin story, it actually helps us understand what needs to happen. Because there are actually two parts to create a currency. First, you've got to create it, and then you've got to have demand, okay? So in cryptocurrency, the creation of the currency is called mining. But like all currencies, you still need demand. Otherwise, it's not worth anything. It's just some digital bits and bytes, okay? And so when we look at Bitcoin, the story of what happens to the value for those people who mined Bitcoins in the early days, they did that, you know, on a vision that these Bitcoins were going to have some sort of value, and the price was, you know, started off at like 10 cents, okay, and the price fluctuated, but eventually, as the graph shows, eventually what happened was the demand kicked in and the price went crazy to over $1,000. In fact, today it still fluctuates between sort of $900 and $1,400. So those people, the real point here is those people that got in there and mined those coins, they made an extraordinary profit on that action. Okay, it's incredible. And so, you know, most people have heard of Bitcoin. It's the most famous cryptocurrency. But what you need to appreciate is that when it comes to, hey, look, delivering the value, which is creating this global reserve currency, Bitcoin can't do it. And it can't do it because of its blockchain. The underlying technology means that it can't. They just don't have enough coins. It's too slow. Its capacity is too small. It's called transactions per second. Okay, its transaction per second speed is far too slow to ever be a valuable currency for the world to use. And that's why people are getting involved in OneCoin, because Bitcoin can't do it. So it's just meant that the sort of the star performer, the star runner in the race has just had to pull out. And when I think of that, that's why I'm involved, because of just what you can see here. And I hope it's the same for you, because when you get that, all you got to do is to understand why we think that we're going to be it. And it's this OneCoin difference. What are we different from everyone else? And the fact is Dr. Ruja, who's the founder and visionary behind the company, she understood that the requirement was to create this global coin, this global new global currency. And so our strategy has been totally laser focused on creating that. When everyone else say, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that, Dr. Ruja says, no, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. And she's been talking about the same subjects ever since ever since the whole business started. She's been talking about creating this global currency, that you have to, and because you're doing that, you have to have enough coins. Okay, not 21 million for Bitcoin. We have over 120. We have 120 billion coins. So that's what, 2,000 times more coins than Bitcoin. But you also need users around the world. So the miners, you've got to have millions of miners, and they've got to be spaced all around the world. You've got to be trusted. If you're going to have a people's coin, it has to be trusted, which is why, to the shock of a lot of people, she announced last year that we were going to have this thing called KYC. So know your customer, placed in your blockchain. Okay, and it may not seem much to you, but if you don't have that, the governments and banks and people of the world, but especially the sort of regulatory bodies, won't trust you. And we're the only cryptocurrency that has that embedded in the blockchain. In reality, with the new legislation that I know is coming through, we'll be the only one that could be a legal cryptocurrency. Okay, and Dr. Ruja understood that. She announced it. I'll be honest, when it first got announced, I'm going like, why is she doing this? I can imagine it's important, but okay. But so she understands. So that's the mining process is creating that technology, that structure, which is important. But then, we understand that you've got to be able to use, there's got to be demand. And so the whole infrastructure of the wallets to carry the coins and the support for people and exchanges and for merchants to be able to use that, to have the capacity in your blockchain, so it operates at a speed and at an ease that people will say, okay, I'll take your OneCoins, okay, to buy your coffee or to buy your car or to buy your haircut. All of that needs to be put in place. And another thing that we don't really talk about, but Dr. Ruja always talks about, is the subject of price stability. For the people to use a currency and for merchants to take a currency, it must be stable. And this fluctuation that you see in Bitcoin guarantees that no one will ever use it as a normal currency. It guarantees it. And everything that we do is designed to make sure that this coin, it has a stable price. Otherwise, it can't be it. And I know a lot of people get frustrated, but that's the reality. And I think the real killer thing that she did was she used the system of network marketing, where people got people to become miners of the coin and for people to become merchants and users. She's using this strategy of finding people, and because of that, it's been so successful, and that's why you're watching right now. Okay, and it's genius. So the last key point that you really need to understand about the creation of the coin, which makes us different, is the fact that she realizes that to mine the coin, you actually need millions of people who are prepared to take their current currency and swap that through the mining process for a new currency. And so to do that, normally to mine cryptocurrency, it's a very expensive, very technical thing, okay, for someone to do. And obviously the masses don't have that ability to do it. And so they created what's called a centralized but private mining pool. And so that's what OneTech or OneCoin does. It doesn't sell coins, it actually runs the mining platform. And so if you want coins, as I hope now you realize the scale of this opportunity, it's just amazing that the average person can get involved in something like this at this early stage. The fact is that the reason why you can is because the company runs this centralized private mining pool. And so what you do is you join the mining pool, and by joining the mining pool, you're able to mine coins, which you hold then, and you do that because you hope and expect that in the future you will be able to sell those coins for a profit. Does that make sense? Okay. And look, if you get that, you get this opportunity. If you're excited about that, you're excited about that opportunity. All right. And so when you actually look at this thing, people like the one downside of creating a private mining pool in the way that we're doing it is that you cannot have public sales of the coin. Okay. And so people ask me, oh, well, okay, well, if I get those coins, when can I sell them? Okay, well, the answer to that is at the moment you can sell a few, all right, through the merchant systems that we have, but the widespread sales won't be until it's expected to be the second quarter of next year, all right. So, and then it'll be just a normal publicly traded coin. So, and that brings us through to the second part. Remember, when it comes to the using cryptocurrency, you have mining, which is creating it, and then the demand is the thing that creates the value. So if you mine coin, obviously you want to know how's the demand going to be created. Well, the reality is that you need to be able to store coins and send coins and sell coins or exchange them for another currency and spend them. Okay, did I say you need to store, save, spend, sell, whatever. Okay, you understand what I'm saying. And so what the company is already doing, and if you're involved, you will see all of these developments within our world, or what we call our ecosystem. You'll see things like CoinVegas, which is a gambling entertainment site. You'll see DealShaker, which is the big story at the moment. And this is a program whereby merchants can go to our world of people, the millions of people in the OneCoin world, and say, hey, look, I have a deal which you can get, and you can pay in either OneCoins or you can pay in cash in OneCoins. Okay, and that is new, but it looks to be pretty successful when you consider that, more than 20,000 merchants have joined, much more than 100,000 people have said that, hey, they're interested in the world, and there's lots of coupons have been bought. Okay, in all of these different areas. And so over the next 12 months, Dr. Ruja has said that there will be on a regular basis a new development. And so long as you understand, okay, because this opportunity right now is about, hey, getting coins. So you understand that the purpose of all of this is to create the infrastructure where people can actually, so the demand can be created. Because it's the demand that will determine the value that you can sell your coins. Does everyone understand that? Does everyone understand that? It's, that's what, Gavin, that's what we want to do. We want to make sense. I'd love this presentation to be called The Facts, because that's all people need to know. Is when people know the facts, then they get why people get involved. The last bit of information I think you need to know about the currency is that the actual fintech, the technology that the company that runs the platform, the mining platform, also that's delivering all of this, all these you know, Deal Shaker and Coin Vegas and these sort of products. That business is being launched on a major Asian stock exchange in the second quarter of next year. That's been publicly announced. And the reason why I like that, actually, apart from the fact that I can swap my coins into what's thing as a potential share in that business, the real reason why I like it is the fact that to publicly list a company, what's required is major independent bankers must look at your business and go, okay, yeah, we're prepared to support your listing. Now, I have actually led 2 IPOs in London, okay? So I actually know the process, and that's the hard part. The hard part is actually convincing a major investment bank and their lawyers and their business people, who are all pretty skeptical bankers, quite frankly, that you have a business that is worth them supporting. And for us, that means that they have had to investigate this whole opportunity that you're looking at right now. They've had to investigate that opportunity, and they have to be convinced that this whole story about the global reserve currency has credibility. Now, the results prove it, but you still got to understand the logic. Does everyone understand what I'm saying? Guys, give me a nod or a wave or a yes, of course. Do you get that? Because the information I just gave you hopefully is enough that you would say, yep, this is something, I got to get some of them coins. I got to get some of those coins, because, you know, it's actually pretty simple to get coins, all right? Because actually the product of this business is education. And by buying the education that covers financial education, cryptocurrency trading, by buying educational packages, you also receive free tokens. And these tokens are the currency that's used to create coins. And depending on the packages, okay, I'm not going to go through the packages. Whoever showed you this presentation can run through these packages, but basically there are different levels of packages starting at 110 euros, okay, but going right up to more than 100,000 euros. And depending on those packages and combination of packages, you'll receive the education, all the different levels of education, and tokens and what called splits, mining rights, okay? And the way the coins are then created work like this. So as we said, you put your money in, you bought those education packages, and you got tokens, okay? Now, depending on the combination of packages will depend on how many of these splits you receive. And all they are is a doubling of the tokens that you have. So if you have 1 split, your 1 token goes into 2. But if you have 2 splits, your 2 tokens then goes into 4. All right, so 2 splits takes your tokens from 1 through to 4 tokens. So if that could be 1 through 1,000 to 4,000, or it could be, you know, 100,000 to 400,000 tokens. And then what happens is you put those tokens into mining, and then through a thing called difficulty, they are created into coins in your back office. And you don't have to touch anything. That's sort of, you know, the system will do the process for you. All you have to do is decide what packages you want to buy, okay? And to give an example is of a combination package that we recommend that people look at. It's called a Tycoon Starter, a Starter Tycoon. And so you buy these packages, cost you a little over 5,000 euros. And what you do is you get 61,000 tokens and 3 splits. In fact, at the moment, you get 4 splits, okay? And so what you do is you would those tokens are then split. So 61 splits, which doubles in number. So 61,000 doubles, and that number doubles, and that number doubles, and that's how you end up with 488,000 tokens. And they are then put into mining, and that amount of tokens is then divided by what's called the difficulty rate. Because the more people who mine coins, the more difficult it is to create those coins. So if that, in this example, you'd end up with nearly 5,000 coins, in reality, it would probably be 10,000 coins. And so you then would have those coins, which you can either use in Deal Shaker, or you can wait like the rest of us until the coins go public, because of the confidence that you have that these coins are going to sell like crazy. And that's really the whole concept behind this. The key thing to appreciate is that in selling the coins, as I said to you before, a lot of people always, obviously it's, you know, the concept is you want to know, I want those coins, but how am I going to sell these coins? The fact is that, as I said, at the moment you can use them in a very limited way. What you need to do is just sit on them, okay, until next year. It's only next year. It's not as if we're talking 5 years away, when the coins will be used as a normal currency. A lot of people obviously ask me, what price am I going to sell them? Well, when people say that, I like to just refer people to the fact that in that previous example, you know, you spent around 5,000 euros and you ended up with around 10,000 coins. So you can work out a nominal price that you actually got those coins. You're buying education, don't forget. So that's what you've actually paid for the money. But in the nominal value to you is around 50 cents. Well, currently the internal price within the business, if you can look on that thing, is actually 9.85 euros. Okay, so that would be a crazy growth in price, but that price is not a public price yet, so we don't actually know what that price is. Dr. Rouge talks about 20 euros, but she doesn't say that that's what it's going to be next year. She says that's what the expected price, given the potential for the market, will be. But if you're getting them for 50 cents and if you only sold them for 2 euros, it's got to be the best deal around, right? Part of the challenge that I have when people talk about 10 euros is that it's nearly too good to be true. Would you agree with me? It's nearly too good to be true. The fact that there's such sound logic and facts and the reality of the market actually says that it's not too good to be true. When you look at the growth of Bitcoin, it's, those things happen in technology. But for the average person, you normally don't get a chance to be involved in these sort of things. You couldn't buy, Facebook shares before they were public, or Google shares before they were public. Okay? So, we hope that this excites you. And it excites millions of people around the world. So if this interests you, hey, I want you to get involved. And this product opportunity is why the business opportunity of OneLife has been so incredibly successful. And we think this is the next generation of network marketing, because the only way you can join the business is to become a customer, to become a miner. And the only way anyone makes any money out of this business is if people put money in as a miner, okay? There is no cost to join the opportunity, the financial opportunity, this OneLife business opportunity. There's no cost to do that. There's no monthly or annual qualifications. Even what we call the ranking system that in some companies will determine how much money you make. In our business, they're separated. It's just literally, if you introduce customers, or if you build a team who introduce customers and they put money into the mining process, then a sales and marketing commission goes to the organization. It's just that. And what's cool about it, you can run it from home. Your network can cover the world, as it does. Okay. When I look at the people who are on this webinar right now, literally, they're from all over the world. Okay. And that's the exciting thing about what we're doing. All right. Because this opportunity is literally so simple, and because it's so exciting, that's why when they do the lists of the biggest earners in network marketing, we've broken every record there's ever been, and that's the list of the top 10 income earners in the world. And you can see that 6 of the top 10 are actually from our world. In reality, what excites me more is that if you had a list of the top 1,000 earners, we would dominate the people making, $5 grand a week, 10 grand a week. Okay. And the reason is, as I said, is because of the product opportunity, not because some sort of marketing business manipulation, okay? It's just that people want to put money into this program. And when they do, there are commissions to be earned, okay? And one of the power of this business is that it's so simple. There are only 3 bonuses. Mm-hmm. If you personally introduce someone, you can earn 10%, okay? Simple enough. And then what happens is that you can earn a commission on the volumes that are brought in by a team you create, okay? And so the second commission we call network bonus, because the way you build a team is by this thing called a binary. And all that means is that you only have to sponsor 2 people. So you sponsor a left and a right, okay? And what we do is we say, okay, I'm going to help that left and right introduce 2 people, who introduce 2 people, who introduce 2 people, and obviously that's how the network growth occurs, all right? And because you have that network growth, you create volume, and the way the system works is just says, hey, look, create the volume, and what we will do is every week, we'll add up all the volume that's been brought in on your left-hand side, all the volume that's been brought in your right-hand side to unlimited depth, and we'll pay you 10% of the smaller leg, the lesser leg. No balancing, no special rules. It's just as simple as that. And the last bonus is one where we actually understand the way people are. And what this says is that, you know, depending on your package, so with, you know, so long as you've got a tycoon, you get the maximum, okay, minimum of tycoon. What we'll do is that we will pay you down 4 generations. And if you know anything about this multiplication thing, you know, 1 gets 2, gets 4, gets 8, gets 16. Well, there are more people on that 4th generation than all the other levels above. And then what the system says is that we want you to help those people make money, not just create volume, okay? We want you to help them create that network bonus. And whatever network bonus those people make, we'll pay you a percentage of it. It's called a matching bonus. And what's cool about this is normally when companies have these systems is that the biggest percentage is at the smallest level, which is the 1st generation. But this company puts the biggest percentage at the 4th level. So it goes 10%, 10%, 20%, 25%. And because this business works, because we help people make money, and because that levels are not restricted, you're not restricted to do, so you have unlimited width, which means that your 4th generation can have a lot of people on it. And if you're helping them make money, which is really what we want in the system, then you'll make a lot of money as well. And that's why people make so much money in this company, because our system forces people to help people. And so a simple example of that is there's you've got a left and a right, okay? And so you earn the commission, a direct sales commission from that. If you do that in the first 30 days, they double it, okay? Then if you help those 2 get there too, you earn that network bonus. And so what the system does is balance your left and a right, okay? And whichever is the lesser leg, obviously you earn 10%. And then because you help those 2 people you introduce make some money, help people, then you earn some of that matching bonus. And that's how the money's made. And it really is as simple as that. And because it's so simple, because it's so simple, people understand how it works. And we help you. We have this new system being launched at the moment called the OnePro system, where you can go onto the website. There's a whole lot more video trainings being put up over the last couple of days. And you can learn how to do this in a structured, organized way. The people who have introduced you are what's called your coaches. They have a program which helps them help you learn and build your confidence in the business. And that's it, okay? That's our opportunity. That's the facts. So what I'd like to do, okay, what I'd like to do is to actually go and ask some people who are involved, okay, and ask them what they think. So is Gavin, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here, Ed.
Hello, mate.
Hi. That's brilliant. That's what I wanted. Well done. That's a brilliant recording, and it's just perfect for showing people. It's a no nonsense. These are the facts. Yours is the choice. So thank you, mate. It's just exactly what we wanted. And I see somebody else has made the same comment. So you've done brilliantly.
Thank you very much. So what I'd like to do is just one quick thing, Gavin. It's like, because I want to finish the recording now. If you are looking at this video because someone has sent it to you, because we're going to create, have this as a formal recording for people to share. If you are looking at this, what we really want you to do is to get back to the person that said, hey, have a look at this video. Get back to that person and run through, get your questions answered, have a look at the different packages, because this is something, as you see, is in 12 months' time. So the clock is tick, 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 ticking on this thing, and you want to get involved. There is all sorts of incentives and packages that can really inspire you to get involved. As we said, the lowest amount that you can put into the program is only 110 euros. In reality, the vast majority of people get involved at a higher level, but that's based on your confidence. So we hope that this program has built your confidence, and thanks a lot.